In 2018, I ventured into the world of real estate. To get into real estate, you have to take a course that meets some requirements. Since I lived in a remote area, I began researching online schools. I chose Real Estate Express due to their better than average reputation. Also, they have an incentive of a refund if you fail the real estate exam. The material was extensive and incredibly dull. The course is mostly comprised of text, an overwhelming amount of regulations, laws, and rules. The occasional multiple choice quizzes provided some relief. And the accompanying images are mostly generic and lack significance. Upon completion of my studies, I conducted a thorough review of all the materials. During this process, I stumbled upon a copy of the New York Real Estate Rules. I took the time to study these rules and found them to be more beneficial than the online material. Once I finished the course, I had to take an exam for the online program. The program made this fairly easy with directions on how to register for it and get the exam proctored. They actually set me up with a proctor, I just had to pick the date. The only part that bothered me was that once I requested my exam date preference, they didn't get back to me for several weeks, until about 5 days before the exam date. So I drove down to the town for my exam, which was about an hour away from where I lived. The proctor was some random, older gentleman. I parked at his office building and sat in his office and took the exam on his computer. Which was not clean. He ate food, drank coffee, and did whatever his regular work was. His office was well lit from large windows to the outside, and I had 2 to 3 hours to take the exam. I easily finished it with 45 minutes to an hour to spare. Once you have the license, it doesn't matter how you got it. You could have studied online or taken a class in person. Choose the option that suits you best, and don't let the decision hold you back. As advised by the office manager at Wynn, a local agent, the information learned in the classes will not be of much practical use in the field. It's the hands-on experience that truly counts. It's worth mentioning that it took me 6 months to complete the program while working full-time. If you are able to give the program your full attention and do not have other employment obligations, you may be able to complete it in as little as 2 months by working intensely. A few days after taking my exam, I received notification that I had passed. I then scheduled my state licensing examination, which I took in Albany. I was allowed to take the test even though I arrived 10 minutes late. I finished the test early and found out later that I had passed through the state's website. Unfortunately, the score was not provided, only a pass/fail result. A few weeks after obtaining my license, I began searching for a broker to work with. I interviewed 4 of them and picked the one I liked best. I paid a $55 application fee. The Department of State turned down my application because of past misdemeanors. But when I explained how old they were and what for and signed a doc, they accepted me. I was thrilled to finally receive my license. I then attended the Ulster Board of Realtors appointment. The staff was very accommodating. During the appointment, I filled out a lot of forms and paid for things like access to the multiple listing service, board dues, and a Century card that let me open doors to people's homes. Before I made any money, I had to pay for these things and other fees that added up to almost $1,000. The career requires 22 to 24 hours of training every 2 years to keep your license. I enrolled in a 2-hour orientation class and also enrolled in an online course right then. The orientation went over things like ethics, rules, and the best ways to do things in the industry. Even though most of the material was boring, there was an interesting part about agent safety. The teacher showed videos and talked about how important it was to be ready for the unexpected. They even suggested carrying a weapon as a safety measure. However, this suggestion was met with some controversy from some attendees who felt it was offensive. Later, I went to my first staff meeting at my new broker's office. It was a good chance to network and make connections, which is important in the real estate business. During the meeting, we listened to talks from mold removal experts and a local inspector. I was assigned a mentor and went to several property showings with them. They tried to impart their knowledge to me. My broker also offered in-person training sessions led by a seasoned and talkative agent. In the real estate industry, I quickly discovered that there's a significant amount of paperwork involved. And that timing is critical. It requires putting in more hours than a typical 9-to-5 job. With many successful realtors working early mornings and late into the night, including weekends. After I got my license, I spent several months studying real estate, digging into tried and true strategies, and putting what I learned to use. Pick up my book and you'll learn everything I learned in months, and you'll do it in just a few days. It's also a handy reference for when you do get your license. Pick up your copy today. It's inexpensive and linked below. Thanks for watching.